Picture a bottle of the world's most beloved soft drink sitting on a pharmacy counter in 1886. Now imagine the pharmacist telling you it contains cocaine, actual, real cocaine, and that it's good for you. Sounds insane, right? But that's exactly what Coca-Cola was. A cocaine-laced medicine sold as a cure for headaches, exhaustion, and even morphine addiction. The man who invented it was a morphine addict himself, desperately searching for relief from his Civil War wounds. What he created instead was a drink that would conquer the world, but not before hiding one of the most controversial secrets in corporate history. Today, we're cracking open the vault on Coca-Cola's original formula, the cocaine connection that made it famous, and the shocking truth about whether coca leaves are still used today. If you love digging into the weird and wild side of history, smash that subscribe button and drop a comment with the strangest historical fact you know. April 1865. The Confederacy has fallen, and thousands of soldiers are limping home from a war that tore America apart. Among them is John Pemberton, a decorated Confederate colonel with a chemistry degree and a wound that won't stop screaming. A Union saber had slashed across his chest during one of the final cavalry charges of the war, leaving him with chronic, agonizing pain that no amount of willpower could silence. Pemberton did what any wounded veteran of his era would do. He turned to morphine. It was the only thing that worked, the only medicine that could dull the fire burning through his ribs. But morphine is a liar. It promises relief and delivers slavery. Within months, Pemberton was hooked, completely, utterly dependent on the very drug that was supposed to save him. Here's where the story gets interesting. Pemberton wasn't just any morphine addict. He was a trained pharmacist with his own lab, and he refused to accept his fate. If morphine was the problem, then chemistry would be the solution. He started experimenting with every plant extract, every tonic, every compound he could get his hands on. He was looking for something that could kill pain without the addiction, a miracle drug that didn't exist yet. Then he heard about coca. Not cocoa, the chocolate stuff. Coca, a plant that grew in the mountains of South America. Indigenous people had been chewing coca leaves for thousands of years to fight fatigue and hunger. European scientists had recently figured out how to extract the active ingredient, cocaine. And here's the kicker. In the 1880s, cocaine was being hailed as a wonder drug. Doctors were prescribing it for depression, fatigue, even alcoholism. Sigmund Freud himself wrote glowing papers about how cocaine had changed his life, calling it a magical substance. Pemberton read everything he could find. Cocaine was legal, available, and according to the medical establishment, completely safe. He ordered coca leaf extract and began mixing it into his tonics. Maybe, just maybe, this was the answer he'd been searching for. To understand how Coca-Cola ended up with cocaine in it, you need to understand just how wild the medicine game was in 1880s America. There were no FDA regulations, no warning labels, no clinical trials. If you could bottle something and make health claims about it, you could sell it. These were called patent medicines, and they were everywhere. On pharmacy shelves, in newspaper ads, sold door to door by traveling salesmen. And here's the thing, most of them were absolutely loaded with drugs that would horrify us today. Morphine for teething babies, heroin cough syrup for children, cocaine lozenges for sore throats, cannabis tinctures for menstrual cramps. Nobody thought twice about it because nobody understood addiction the way we do now. These were considered medicines, not drugs of abuse. Pemberton was already making a decent living selling patent medicines. He had a product line that included tonics, hair dyes, and various cure-alls with names like Indian Queen Hair Dye and Triplex Liver Pills. But his real moneymaker was a beverage he called Pemberton's French wine coca. It was basically wine infused with coca leaf extract, a direct knockoff of a wildly popular European drink called Vin Mariani. Vin Mariani was the energy drink of the Victorian era. Pope Leo III kept a flask of it and even awarded it a Vatican gold medal. Thomas Edison drank it. President William McKinley drank it. Queen Victoria drank it. It was marketed as a tonic that could cure everything from depression to tuberculosis. And people absolutely believed it because cocaine and alcohol together create a powerful, euphoric high that made users feel invincible. Pemberton's version was selling well. He was finally making real money. And then in 1886, disaster struck. Atlanta and Fulton County went dry. They banned alcohol sales. Overnight, Pemberton's wine coca became illegal. His best-selling product was now contraband, and he was staring down financial ruin. Pemberton didn't panic. He went back to his lab and started reformulating. The alcohol had to go, but he could keep everything else. He removed the wine and replaced it with a thick sugar syrup to maintain the sweetness. The coca extract stayed. That was the medicine, the whole point of the drink. Then he added something new, cola nut extract, which was packed with caffeine. Think about that combination for a second. Cocaine plus caffeine. That's not just a stimulant, that's rocket fuel. Pemberton was essentially creating a legal speedball, though he had no idea what he was doing. He just knew that when he mixed these ingredients together, people felt amazing. But the taste was a problem. Coca extract is bitter. Cola nut is bitter. The whole thing tasted like medicine, which it was, but medicine doesn't sell well if it makes you gag. So Pemberton started adding flavoring agents, citrus oils, vanilla extract, cinnamon, nutmeg, and a blend of other mysterious oils that he kept secret even from his partners. On May 8, 1886, Pemberton brought a jug of this new syrup to Jacob's Pharmacy in downtown Atlanta. The plan was simple: mix it with cold water and sell it by the glass as a brain tonic and temperance drink, a non-alcoholic beverage for the morally upright citizens of dry Atlanta. The pharmacist mixed up the first glass and offered it to a customer. It was okay. Medicinal, but okay. Then someone, and nobody knows if it was intentional or accidental, mixed the syrup with carbonated water instead of plain water. The result was a revelation. The carbonation cut through the bitterness, made the drink refreshing, and created a fizzy sensation that was completely novel. People loved it. Pemberton had accidentally invented something that wasn't quite medicine and wasn't quite a beverage. It was something entirely new. Pemberton's bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, came up with the name Coca-Cola. He thought the two C's would look good in advertising, and he was the one who designed that flowing Spencerian script logo that's still used today. They started promoting it with newspaper ads and free sample coupons. Coca-Cola, the ideal brain tonic. Delicious, refreshing, exhilarating, invigorating. So what exactly was in this original formula? The company has spent over a century guarding the recipe like it's nuclear codes, but we actually know most of the ingredients because Pemberton wasn't particularly careful about secrecy in the beginning. Here's what went into every glass. Coca leaf extract. This is where the cocaine came from. Fresh coca leaves were imported from Peru and Bolivia, then processed to extract the active compounds. Early Coca-Cola contained about 9 milligrams of cocaine per 8-ounce serving. That's not a massive dose, but it was enough to produce a noticeable buzz, increased energy, elevated mood, suppressed appetite. People drank it and felt good, and they had no idea they were getting high. Cola nut extract, loaded with caffeine. This added another layer of stimulation on top of the cocaine. The combination was incredibly effective at fighting fatigue. Sugar, massive amounts of it. The original formula used pure cane sugar and lots of it to cover up the bitter medicinal taste. This created the sweet flavor profile that Coca-Cola is still known for. Citrus oils extracted from oranges, lemons, and limes. These gave the drink its bright, tangy notes. Vanilla extract for warmth and depth. Caramel for color and a hint of burnt sugar flavor. Cinnamon oil, nutmeg oil, and other mystery spices. This is where the formula gets murky. Pemberton never wrote down the complete recipe. He kept the exact proportions and some of the ingredients in his head, which would later cause massive legal headaches. Phosphoric acid or citric acid, to give it that sharp, tangy bite that makes your mouth water. The result was unlike anything else on the market. It was sweet but not cloying, fizzy but not harsh, medicinal but actually pleasant to drink. And the cocaine gave it a subtle edge that kept people coming back for more, even if they didn't consciously understand why. Here's the heartbreaking part. Pemberton never got to enjoy his success. In the first year, Coca-Cola sold only about 9 glasses per day at 5 cents each. Pemberton spent more on advertising than he made in sales. He was broke, sick, and still fighting his morphine addiction. By 1888, just 2 years after inventing Coca-Cola, he was dying of stomach cancer and desperate for cash. Enter Asa Griggs Candler, a fellow pharmacist and businessman with a shark's instinct for opportunity. Candler had been watching Coca-Cola's slow growth, and he saw something Pemberton didn't: potential. He approached the dying inventor and offered to buy the rights to the formula. The exact price is disputed. Some sources say $2,300, others say Candler paid nothing and simply took over the business while Pemberton was too sick to fight back. Either way, Pemberton died in August 1888, addicted to morphine, nearly penniless, with no idea that his formula would eventually be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. His obituary didn't even mention Coca-Cola. He died thinking he'd failed. Candler, meanwhile, became the man who turned Coca-Cola into a phenomenon. He was a marketing genius who understood something revolutionary: branding. He registered the Coca-Cola trademark in 1893 and launched an advertising blitz that was unprecedented for its time. He printed the Coca-Cola logo on calendars, serving trays, clocks, bookmarks, anything he could think of. He hired salesmen to travel across America handing out free drink coupons. He put Coca-Cola ads in newspapers, magazines, and on billboards. Within 10 years, Coca-Cola went from selling 9 glasses a day in one Atlanta pharmacy to being available in every state in America. By 1895, it was being sold nationwide. People couldn't get enough of it, and while the marketing was brilliant, there's no denying that the cocaine didn't hurt sales either. But society's love affair with cocaine was about to come crashing down. By the late 1890s, doctors were starting to see the dark side of the miracle drug. Patients who had been prescribed cocaine for minor ailments were showing up with severe addictions. Cases of cocaine psychosis were being reported. People were overdosing. The drug that was supposed to cure morphine addiction was proving to be just as dangerous, if not worse. Then racism entered the picture in the ugliest way possible. Newspapers, particularly in the South, began publishing hysterical stories about cocaine turning Black Americans into violent criminals with superhuman strength. These stories were complete fabrications, rooted in white supremacist paranoia, but they fueled a moral panic that swept the country. The racist mythology of cocaine-crazed Black men became a driving force behind early drug prohibition laws. The Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906 changed everything. For the first time, companies were required to list their ingredients on product labels. Suddenly, consumers could see exactly what they were drinking. And when people realized that Coca-Cola, a drink they were giving to their children, contained cocaine, public outrage exploded. Candler faced an impossible choice. Cocaine was part of the drink's identity. It was literally in the name. But keeping it in the formula was becoming a public relations nightmare and a legal liability. Newspapers were calling Coca-Cola dope and warning that it was turning America's youth into addicts. Some states were moving to ban it entirely. So in 1903, Candler made a decision that would define the company's future. Remove the cocaine, but keep the coca leaves. This wasn't about maintaining flavor. It was about protecting the brand name. You can't call something Coca-Cola if it doesn't contain coca. Here's where this story gets absolutely wild. Coca-Cola still uses coca leaves in its formula. Right now, as you're watching this video, the Coca-Cola company is using extracts from the same plant that produces cocaine, and it's completely legal. There's only one facility in the entire United States authorized to import and process coca leaves, the Stepan Company in Maywood, New Jersey. They've held this exclusive contract since 1903. Every year they import multiple tons of dried coca leaves from Peru, one of the few countries where coca cultivation is legal. At their New Jersey plant, chemists perform a delicate extraction process. They strip out all the cocaine alkaloids from the leaves using a chemical process that's classified. The extracted cocaine isn't destroyed. It's sold to Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals, the only American company licensed to purify pharmaceutical-grade cocaine. Yes, cocaine is still used in medicine today, primarily as a topical anesthetic for eye, nose, and throat surgeries. Surgeons use it because it's one of the few drugs that simultaneously numbs tissue and constricts blood vessels. What's left after the cocaine extraction is called spent coca leaves or decocainized coca leaf extract. This is what gets shipped to Coca-Cola. It's 100% legal, contains zero cocaine, and is used purely for flavoring. The company has never publicly explained what role it plays in the taste, but they've confirmed it's still part of the secret formula known as Merchandise 7X. The Stepan company processes enough coca leaves to produce hundreds of kilograms of pharmaceutical cocaine annually, which means they're also producing a massive amount of decocainized extract for Coca-Cola. It's one of the strangest legal arrangements in American business, a monopoly on a plant that's illegal almost everywhere, all to maintain the flavor of a soft drink. The secrecy around Coca-Cola's formula has become part of its mythology. The company claims only 2 executives alive know the complete recipe, and they're allegedly not allowed to travel together in case something happens. The formula is supposedly locked in a vault at the World of Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta, though critics say this is just marketing theater. The truth is, modern food science has demystified most of the formula. Chemists have analyzed Coca-Cola and can identify nearly every ingredient. The real secret isn't what's in it. It's the exact proportions and the specific process. It's the difference between knowing a cake has flour and eggs versus knowing the precise recipe that makes it perfect. Today's Coca-Cola is radically different from Pemberton's 1886 original. There's no cocaine. The coca leaf extract is minimal and thoroughly processed. The cola nut extract has been reduced or eliminated in most markets. High fructose corn syrup has replaced cane sugar in many countries. What remains is carbonated water, sweetener, caramel color, phosphoric acid, natural flavors, and caffeine. But the cocaine connection lives on in the cultural imagination. It's become an urban legend, a piece of trivia that gets repeated at parties, a dark secret that makes the brand seem more interesting and dangerous than it really is. Coca-Cola doesn't try too hard to suppress these stories because, honestly, they're great publicity. They remind people that Coca-Cola has been around forever, that it's part of history, that it's more than just a drink. It's a cultural institution. John Pemberton died broke and forgotten, never knowing his formula would become the most valuable trade secret in commercial history. Asa Candler became fabulously wealthy and sold the company in 1919 for $25 million, the largest financial transaction in Southern history at that time. The Woodruff family took over and transformed Coca-Cola into a global empire that now operates in over 200 countries and generates more than $40 billion in annual revenue. More than 1.9 billion servings of Coca-Cola products are consumed every single day. That's roughly 1/4 of the world's population drinking Coke daily. The formula that started with a morphine-addicted veteran mixing cocaine and caffeine in a desperate attempt to self-medicate has become the most recognized brand on planet Earth. And somewhere in a secure facility in New Jersey, workers are still processing coca leaves, the same plant that started this entire strange, fascinating, controversial story over a century ago. The cocaine is gone, but the coca remains, a ghost of the drink's original identity. A reminder that even the most wholesome brands sometimes have the wildest origins. So there it is, the complete uncensored story of how cocaine turned a failing pharmacist's experiment into the most recognized brand on the planet. John Pemberton was just a desperate man trying to escape his morphine addiction, mixing random ingredients in a backroom lab. He had no idea he was creating something that would outlive him by centuries and generate more wealth than he could have possibly imagined. And he died without a penny to show for it. But here's what makes this story truly fascinating. Coca-Cola's success had absolutely nothing to do with the cocaine. Sure, it probably helped in those early years when people were unknowingly getting a mild buzz from their afternoon refreshment. But the drink conquered the world because of brilliant marketing, relentless expansion, and a flavor that somehow works in every culture, every climate, every context. The cocaine was just a weird accident of history, a reflection of an era when medicine was more guesswork than science. And yet, the ghost of that original formula still exists. Right now, as you're watching this, there's a facility in New Jersey processing tons of coca leaves, extracting the cocaine for hospitals, and shipping the leftover plant matter to Coca-Cola. It's one of the strangest legal arrangements in American business, a remnant of a time when cocaine was medicine and nobody understood addiction. The next time you crack open a Coke, remember that you're not just drinking a soft drink. You're drinking history, a direct connection to Civil War battlefields, Victorian patent medicine shows, racist drug panics, and a dying man's last desperate attempt to create something meaningful. Pemberton failed at almost everything in his life, but his formula succeeded beyond anyone's wildest imagination. Sometimes the biggest successes come from the darkest, strangest places. If this story blew your mind, then you're in the right place because history is absolutely packed with weird, shocking truths that nobody talks about. Hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss the next deep investigation into the strange side of history. And here's what I want from you. Drop a comment below and tell me the weirdest historical fact you know. Seriously, I read every comment, and your suggestions actually shape what I cover next. Should I investigate another major brand with a dark secret? Or maybe expose a historical figure who wasn't what you thought they were? You tell me. If you found this valuable, share it with someone who thinks they know everything about history. Trust me, this story will surprise them. And if you want to go even deeper into weird historical rabbit holes, check out the videos I've got lined up in the playlist below. Until next time, keep questioning everything. Keep digging into the uncomfortable truths, and remember, history is always stranger and darker than the textbooks want you to believe.